Mr. Sajedi, I see that your knowledge is so deep, and
thank you.
We don't have enough time in every interview to focus on certain subjects. So now I would like to focus on al-Qaida and its existence, its history, and the most important point is how it came to relate to the regime in Iran, to IRGC, and how they are being used nowadays to perform more terrorist activities. Please give us some background information on that.
Of course, but first I have to point out that we have to have another chance to make an live in the history of the Middle East, because al-Qaeda, like Hamas, like Jihad Islami, like Islamic Brotherhood, all of them are the heritage and legacy of unsolved affairs in Middle East from the time of Ottoman Empire and its allies with Germany during First World War. Anyhow,
pleasure. We will do that.
And yes, because we have to attention that the Arab countries, they were not really countries. They made official, they made, yes, officially and artificially, I mean, I would like to say that in the form of nation state. They had never experienced, they have never exercised the stages of the nation state. And that's why we have no, I mean, nationalism, Arab nationalism, because we have, of course, an Arab tendencies about the Arabic by self. So the Arab people, they see them they see them as an ummah rather than a nations. And do you know what the difference is? And when the Ottoman Empire was defeated by the France and Britain, then was not United States in the Middle East. However, the Arab countries, they were also provinces of the Ottoman Empire. They were occupied, but they considered as a defeat for themselves as well, because the Ottoman Empire was the fourth caliphate of Islam. We have four caliphate system in Islam. The first one is the Rashidun, Caliph Rashidun. It was about, I think, 25 years, not more, immediately after the Prophet. The second was Bani Umayyah, and it was about 90 years. And the other one was Abbasidun. It took about more than 500 years. And the fourth one was the Ottoman Caliphate. It takes also about 400-500 years, and when it defeated in 1918, before the alliance of Britain and France, that the Arab year, and they considered as a defeat. And during the war, defeat of the Islam and themselves, and not for them was not unreleasing. In spite of that, we may think for them this was not considered as unreleasing from the Ottoman Empire. For them was also a defeat as well. But we know that during between two world war, the France and Britain, they were missioned by the League of Nations then, which was the successor of the United Nations. They were missioned to mandate the Arab regions, but from the side of the Arab regions, they were occupier, and not so. Their mandate is were not considered as an legal, but they were occupied. That's why and from other side, some movements were created by the Germany and Ottoman Empire during the First World War. These movement later also remain active against the occupying of Britain and France. But really, this was not occupying. This was just a transitional period to make them ready to become a nation-state country. This was never solved, and always the legal and the correct presence of the troops of Britain and France in the Middle East was considered as an occupying, and that's why they said that we have to fight with them. One of them, for example, was the Izzeddin Qassam. Izzeddin Qassam was an Ottoman army officer, but now he is considered as a hero for the Palestinian, for example. But another case that we have to consider is that for the Arabian, they have always in the dream of an caliphate like Ottoman. They want to make their own country, their own caliphate. The big difference between Iran and the Arabian is that maybe the Arabian country, they want to make, the Arabian people, not the countries, the governments, they would like to make their own caliphate, but they don't want to dominate around the world. But Iran, the ruling regime of Iran has a dream to make a caliphate, Islamic caliphate, and to dominate it across the world. Whole globe should be under control of the Islamic caliphate that they are going to make.
Yes. So, Mr. Bin Laden, to which camp did he belong?
Yes, Mr. Bin Laden first was in the camp of the United States, because the United States was traditionally influenced in the Sunni tribes, and when the England tried to defeat and fought with the Ottoman, tried to make a union of the Sunni tribes in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, in Iraq, against the domination of the Ottoman Empire. Later, when the Britain was declined, and then substitution between United States in place in the state of the England, of the Britain, the same role was assigned to the United States, and the same role was an unifier of the Sunni tribals. Then after finding the oil and enriching these countries, these ties were also more stronger, and because of in the fear of the aggression of the Soviet Union and communism also, all the Arab rulers, they were in ally with the United States, in alliance with the United States, and Bin Laden, as a very rich family, was also in this bloc. I have to explain that the Bin Laden family was originally from Yemen, and with the Salafi ideas. About the Salafi, I will explain in another video, because it's not it will be too details, and maybe it's a deviation from our mission in this video. Anyhow, the family of Bin Laden was active in real estate in United States and also in Saudi Arabia. There was too much money of the oil, and this was a very good economic sector for growth. But also they had, the family of Bin Laden, they were also contractor for cleaning the Kaaba, and it could be considered as a semi-holy job. We can we can compare it with the job of the family of Prophet before Islam, because they were responsible to give water and food to the pilgrims, and that's why they were very influential, and they were very esteemed in this relation. The family of Bin Laden, they were also very esteemed and very influential because of their job that they had in Mecca. But when the Russian troops invaded Afghanistan, and also in the context of the Cold War, and under the policy of containment, United States gathered and collected all possible anti-Soviet groups in Afghanistan. The Mujahideen in Afghanistan was under direct support, military and financial support of United States. At the same side, also the Bin Laden and al-Qaida was presented, but I am not sure that the Bin Laden and the al-Qaida was financially supported by the CIA or not. I don't think so, because there is no evidence. Of course, there is too much controversial rumors, but anyhow, I don't think that the al-Qaida was directly supported by the CIA. But I'm sure that they were in the same side, and they were in close connection with each other. But as I explained before, at this, they went to a disintegration. As I have already explained, maybe when the war in Afghanistan was ended and Russia withdrew its troops from Afghanistan. At the same time, was the Iraqi troops occupied the Kuwait, and the Saudi Arabia was the second target of the Iraqi army. And the invasion of Iraq to Kuwait was unexceptionally also. It's very it's very very expectable that the Saudi Arabia demand and help from the United States, and United States also will protect the Saudi Arabia against the invasion of the Saddam Hussein. But in this case, the Bin Laden said that this conflict should remain an inter-Arab conflict, and the infidels may not be in this conflict, we do not let the infidels come in this conflict, and proposed to King of Arabistan that the Mujahideen that already are forced and fought with successfully with the troops of Soviet Union can help him to fight with the regime, with the Saddam Hussein army. But I think that the analysis was that if the Mujahideen are so powerful that they could defeat the powerful army of Saddam Hussein, they would be stronger than the armed forces of the Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of the Saudi Arabia. And since that they are under invitation and command of Bin Laden in Saudi Arabia soil, then it would be a bigger danger for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And Bin Laden by itself can easily take the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by a coup. I think that based on this analysis, the proposal of Bin Laden's proposal was rejected by the King of Saudi Arabia, and this is the point of this integration between Bin Laden and Saudi Arabia in practice.
So how did it come about that the IRGC could win his organization?
Yes, as I have already explained, the the seeds of enmity between bin Laden and West was already sown before in the history of Middle East. And I think that in somehow the bin Laden seed himself as an enemy with the United States, and his plan was to kept the Saudi Arabia as a main Muslim country, as a metropole of the Islam, and then begin to found an Islamic caliphate, because when he founded the al-Qaida, his first mission was establishing an Islamic caliphate around the world. And this is the same goal with Iran as well. But the point is that till then, al-Qaida or the other Islamic movements, they have nothing done against the United States benefits and interests around the world. But Iran and Hezbollah till then had already done more than 10 big operations against the United States. That's why I think that the Hezbollah was a legend, was an example, was a model for the al-Qaeda, because Hezbollah, as you know, that has already exercised and carried out the terrorist attacks against the marine barracks in Beirut in 1983, resulting to killing of 241 U.S. Marines and injuring more, and also about 60 French Marines also at the same marine barracks. It means that Hezbollah, under control of Iran as an official proxy of Iran, was a model, was a leading pattern for the al-Qaeda. And that's why we see that since 1993, the first operation of al-Qaeda was begun at the same model that Hezbollah has done already. And since then, we see an integration between al-Qaeda as a Sunni and also Hezbollah as a Shia. And what I have to explain about that is about I have already explained a few times, but I will emphasize once again that then late 80s and begin the 90s, the conflict between Israel and Arab neighbors and Palestine was going to be better, to be solved, because to be ended, because the Israel has already signed a peace treaty with Egypt, and also another signed treaty with Jordan, and proposed many times to Syria, but Syria rejected that. And you know that the policy of Israel was that each country which recognize our security and our existence, we deliver back the lands, the occupied territories, and we will normalize our economic relation. And you know that the Israel is and was the big economic pole of technology and factory, and it could be also a good opportunity for the neighbors. Poor countries, poor Arab people, to find work in the Israel factories, and also they can profit about the Israeli aids technologically and also financially. But this would be a danger for plan of Iran, of regime of Iran, to establish a global caliphate, because Iran was Shia, 10% of the Muslim community, and the Muslim Sunni, usually they don't obey, they don't follow, and Shia. And also we have to refer 400-year conflict, 300, 400 years, 500-year conflict between Ottoman Empire and Safavids, and as a Shia identity, and this is the mistake point, the point which mistakes for the Western, because they thought that and merging would be never happen between the Sunni groups and the Shi'i groups, and because they both are extremists. For example, the Salafi and also the extremists of the Hezbollah and other proxies. But later we saw that Hamas is a Sunni, but is a proxy of Iran. Hezbollah is a Shia, is a proxy of Iran. Regime of Bashar Assad is half Shia, half Shia, but is also proxy of Iran. Houthis, they also they are not Shia as Iran, but they are also proxy of Iran. Also, al-Qaida is a proxy of Iran. And just as the last point in this discussion, I would to point out that the role of al-Qaida was not just the carried out the mission assigned by Iran, terrorist mission, I mean, but also to act as a shield, as a buffer zone, I mean, receive the strikes, receive the hittings from the West for Iran, because as I exampled for you, in these actions, all of them, they said that, okay, the responsible is al-Qaeda and not Iran. So in this case, al-Qaeda acts as a shield for Iran, but actually Iran is the main element, main supporter behind the al-Qaeda.
What is the situation of al-Qaeda today?
Now it seems the situation is too weak. Now there are also another players like Daesh, ISIS, like Khorasan ISIS, like the Taliban, and the situation is weak. But also they have their own influence in the, especially in the Egypt. Because the Egypt, because I mean that the second man of the al-Qaeda after Bin Laden now is the head of the al-Qaeda, and he is from Egypt. The other leaders also from Egypt. I think that they have big influence in North African Arab countries, and also in Saudi Arabia by itself, and also in Yemen, because they are Salafi, but they have also conflict with the others because they try to exercise their own authority, and sometimes it comes with in conflict with the other groups like them by self.
Thank you, Mr. Sajedi. We focused on al-Qaeda, and we will focus in next interviews on Salafi, Hamas, Hezbollah, history and function for the perpetrator in the background regime of Iran. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.